I just think the last performance of Chris, I thought you've got nothing left. You've got there's no more improvement on what I'm seeing there. And I know there was a weight issue and all the build up to it. I thought there's no more improvement there.
Does that mean you think do you think Conor Benn will be better in the second fight?
Yes.
Does that mean that you think that by him being better and there's no more left from Chris Eubank, that Conor Benn's able to bridge the gap and get an outcome in his second fight?
Without a doubt.
What I do know is that however ferocious and relentless I was in that first fight, regardless of rehydration clauses and weights and whatever else they're going to throw at me, I will be even more vicious in that ring November 15th. They said I'm too old, coach. They said I don't want it anymore. They said I'm washed up.
Hey, they're going to find out.
That's right.
And I don't think at this stage Eubank can do a lot more else. You know, he'll try and do what he did, you know, on fight night. It's whether he can go so well again. I don't think so. If the fight becomes as hard and if there's the pace and ferocity of a first fight, I'd be very surprised and I'd be amazed if Eubank can do it.
The countdown to Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. 2 has the boxing world buzzing with electricity. From gyms to studios, podcasts to pundit panels, the debate rages who truly has the upper hand this time. The first clash between these two proud warriors delivered chaos, drama, and unforgettable moments.
168, he ain't coming back down to 160, so it's got a very short lifespan, this rematch. It's got to be done, the sooner the better. If I'm being brutally honest, the sooner the rematch happens, in my opinion, it favours Conor Benn, because he's the younger fighter who's took less damage and has had a much lesser career with much less experience. For someone like Chris Eubank Jr., it's going to take a while to turn around, and it's going to take a while to recover, because that was a hard fight for him. He was shook a number of times, he felt the shots.
Now as the rematch looms, the stakes have multiplied. This is no longer just about redemption. It's about survival, legacy, and pride under the brightest lights of British boxing. Eddie Hearn, ever the straight shooter, captured the gravity of the situation. Another loss would be disastrous for...
What does it do to Conor Benn's career trajectory if he does lose again?
Look, I mean, you never want back-to-back defeats. Obviously, we know the future is at 147. We've got Lewis Crocker here. You know, there's a shot at the world title. But losing is a disaster for Conor. Yeah, I can dress it up to you and say, it's up at middleweight, it doesn't really matter, now we go. But that's not what Conor Benn's about. You see a different Conor Benn in there today, because all he's focused on is the performance and the fight and getting...
Conor Benn, he stated flatly. For Benn, November 15th isn't just another date, it's Judgment Day. His pride, reputation, and place among Britain's elite hang in the balance. One slip could mean fading from the spotlight, one victory could cement his rise to the top. Meanwhile, Chris Eubank...
We don't want the fight going 12 rounds. So that means we have to, you know, the best chance of that is to employ a different strategy, have different tactics, have a different mindset on what it is we need to do with Conor Benn in that ring. That's why we brought BoMac
Jr. isn't showing a hint of hesitation. With Brian BoMac McIntyre now sharpening his weapons, Eubank's confidence has transformed into something far more dangerous: purpose. He's not planning to box cautiously or leave it to the judges. Eubank wants a finish, a definitive statement to erase...
You know, like I say, the fight wasn't a letdown because it was a good fight. But as an event, you won't get a better event than that. And they'll have to go some, actually, to surpass that or even equal that. Let's just hope they get the same turnout in terms of the numbers, people going through the live gate and watching that fight, because it was a great event. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. You won't get world title fights that actually are a better event. Do you see what I mean?
Any doubt about who the superior fighter truly is. No scorecards, his team insists. This time he's hunting Benn down with ruthless intent, aiming for a knockout that silences critics once and for all. Former world champion Duke McKenzie.
Do you think Conor Benn will be better in the second fight?
Yes.
Does that mean that you think that by him being better and there's no more left from Chris Eubank, that Conor Benn's able to bridge the gap and get an outcome in his second fight?
Without a doubt.
You do?
He couldn't have done any more. If he could have knocked out Conor in that fight, he would have done. He just couldn't get rid of him. And Conor stuck it. So regardless of him being surprised that Conor stuck it out a lot more.
He summed it up perfectly. The first fight was chaos, drama, and pure entertainment. To top that, they'll need something extraordinary. The atmosphere last time was electric, but this rematch carries a heavier emotional charge, one that could push both men beyond their limit.
So I think he'll get a lot more people wanting to tune into that fight, and obviously we're going to win the next fight, and but yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting Conor Benn ready to fight, and it's going to be historic.
Sky Sports pundit Johnny Nelson believes Conor Benn's growth since their initial meeting could be the difference maker. He points to Benn's resilience and tactical maturity, suggesting that the younger fighter has evolved in both mindset and execution. If Benn has truly learned from that first...
He ain't coming back down to 160, so it's got a very short lifespan, this rematch. It's got to be done, the sooner the better. If I'm being brutally honest, the sooner the rematch happens, in my opinion, it favours Conor Benn, because he's the younger fighter who's took less damage and has had a much lesser career with much less experience. For someone like Chris Eubank Jr, it's going to take a while to turn around, and it's going to take a while to recover, because that was a hard fight for him. He was shook a number of times, he felt the shot.
Fight, Nelson notes he could bridge the gap this time. Against Eubank's polished precision, Benn's raw hunger and aggression might now come with sharper discipline, an explosive combination if it clicks on the night. Trainer Tony Sims, who's been by Benn's side throughout his turbulent journey, radiates confidence. He describes this rematch not just as a fight, but as a moment in history. Conor's ready, Sims insists. We've worked on the mistakes, we've adapted, and this time you'll see a different fighter. Sims' words mirror the mood in Benn's camp, focused, relentless, and deeply motivated to rewrite the narrative that began with that dramatic first showdown. Former Cruiserweight World Champion Tony Bellew takes a strategic...
They said I'm too old, coach. They said I don't want it anymore. They said I'm washed up.
Hey, they're gonna find out.
Angle, emphasizing how timing could play a critical role. He suggests that an early rematch actually favors Benn. He's younger, fresher, and less worn. Bellew explains, Eubank, now 36, endured a punishing first encounter both physically and emotionally. For Benn, capitalizing on youth and momentum might just be the secret to victory. If the fight happens before Eubank fully resets, the younger man's speed and explosiveness could prove decisive. The psychological battlefield Eubank's new trainer, BoMac, McIntyre, introduces another layer to the discussion, the mental warfare of rematches. When you've already shared the ring with someone, McIntyre says, you understand their rhythm, their power, their weaknesses. Benn now knows how Eubank moves, how he reacts under...
I will dismantle him. I will ruin him. He gets absolutely destroyed. Destroyed. There's no comeback. There will be no comeback after he fights me. When I beat him, I'll put him into an early retirement. I will put him into retirement.
Pressure and how he recovers. That familiarity breeds confidence. McIntyre warns that for the fighter who won the first encounter, the challenge can sometimes be mental. You think you already know the outcome, but that can make you complacent, he adds. In contrast, Benn enters this rematch hungrier, more focused, and perhaps psychologically freer. Having faced the fire once, he's now stepping into it with purpose, not fear. That mental edge could prove pivotal in a razor-close contest. Conor Benn's own words ahead of this fight reveal a chilling level of conviction. He isn't simply looking to win. He wants to end Eubank Jr.'s career. His statements ooze confidence and calculated aggression, part of a psychological strategy designed to rattle his opponent before...
This would sell out any stadium in the UK. I was going to see it in the world there, but probably not in America, because that many people wouldn't fly over, would sell out a lot. But the fight location still hasn't been announced yet, but I do know that it's going to be on September 20th.
Or fight night. He's had his moment, Benn declares. This time, there's no comeback. Such bold talk is more than bravado. It's the mindset of a man who feels reborn. Benn's determination to dominate, not just outpoint, shows how personal this fight has become. Every punch, every combination will carry the weight of unfinished business. This isn't about headlines or hype. It's about closure, pride, and proving his evolution as both a man and a fighter. Olympic bronze medalist Tony Jeffries highlights the emotional intensity behind this rematch. This isn't just sport, he explains. This is identity. For Eubank Jr., it's pride and validation, proving that he can control and dominate where the first fight left questions. For Ben, it's about redemption, respect.
But they're just not the same size. Rehydration clauses should not be a thing in boxing. I know IBF have a £10 morning after ruling, but it's just not safe. The term rehydration clauses don't sound safe. Rehydration clause, just don't agree with it. Eubank's been up at super middleweight, and now they're going to drag him down to near light middleweight. I don't like it.
Respect and proving he belongs among Britain's elite. Jeffries reminds fans that fights like these are fueled by more than tactics. They're driven by emotion, revenge, pride, and career survival intertwined, creating a psychological battlefield as dangerous as the physical one. Fighters who can harness that energy effectively often rise to the occasion. It's not just who punches harder. Jeffries says it's who channels the pressure better. Heavyweight contender Dave Allen introduces a crucial but often overlooked factor: weight management and safety. He warns that restrictive rehydration clauses and forced weight cuts can tip the balance unfairly. These guys aren't naturally the same size. Allen points out, if you start draining a fighter too much, you're not...
And I think Eubank Jr., if he gets this win, and there's a new lease of life maybe under BoMac, 2026, maybe finally he could become a world champion. But he's got to get past Conor Benn first. And Conor Benn, not just hungry for revenge, he believes he can win this because of what happened first time round, because he went 12 rounds at middleweight, up in class, after a long layoff. Some people fancy Benn.
Testing skill anymore. You're testing survival. His commentary underscores the physical and mental toll such conditions can take. Constantly worrying about making weight or rehydration limits distracts from strategy and performance. Allen argues that fair, natural conditions should decide a fight of this magnitude, not contract clauses. It's a stark reminder that beyond hype and rivalry, fighters' health must remain paramount. Sky Sports' Adam Smith frames the rematch within a larger context: career trajectory and legacy. For Eubank Jr., a win could reignite everything, he says. Victory here could launch Eubank toward another world title run, potentially setting up major bouts in 2026. But Benn, brimming with self-belief and youthful energy, poses a serious threat to that plan. Smith points out that the implications stretch far beyond bragging rights. This fight could redefine both careers, he notes. A win for Benn would mark his full redemption, a public statement that he's not just a controversial figure, but a legitimate...
And so this fight can only harm him. Because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, not freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with the shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night. Which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time. I mean, so I don't know.
Star for Eubank. Defeat could mean stagnation or the end of elite-level contention. It's a razor's edge scenario where one man's revival could be the other's downfall. Former champion Barry Jones offers a sobering dose of realism. He reminds fans that rematches aren't just emotional, they're physically punishing. The first fight was brutal, he reflects. The second could be worse. Jones predicts another grueling contest unless one man scores an early stoppage. Both fighters, he warns, will be tested to their physical and mental limits. Jones still tips Eubank Jr. as the slight favorite, citing his superior technical foundation and proven resilience. But he acknowledges Benn's relentless pressure and newfound maturity as dangerous variables. Momentum and confidence matter, Jones says, but skill and composure win fights. His take grounds the excitement in reality. Boxing is not just about hype, it's about execution under fire. Few understand the fighter's psyche like George.
He's got that crossover appeal, you know. He does. Sometimes I don't know why, but he's a fascinating guy, and I respected him because we used to bring him in for sparring, and he was smaller than me, middleweight at the time, but he could hold his own. He would come and he would swing away, but everything was a performance almost. So you come in, hey Chris, he wouldn't look at you. Right. Be in the mirror doing his Vaseline. You okay? Do you need anything, Chris? Do you want some water? No. Okay. finish the spar, and if he had a good spar, he might let out.
Groves, who once sparred with Conor Benn. Groves recalls those sessions vividly, describing Benn as a performer, a professional, and a perfectionist. Even against bigger or more experienced opponents, Benn commanded respect through sheer willpower. He treats every sparring session like fight night. Groves revealed, that's not just dedication, it's obsession. This relentless mentality, Groves explains, makes Benn so dangerous. He's not the kind of fighter who needs motivation. He lives in that mindset. For Eubank Jr., facing a version of Benn who channels that energy with greater technical precision could be a nightmare. He's not just fighting a man anymore. Groves concludes, he's fighting a mission. Veteran trainer Ronnie Davies, who has long connections to the Eubank family, adds a tactical layer to the analysis. He believes that if Benn sticks to a disciplined plan, this fight could end inside 8 rounds. Conor's got the power to hurt him, Davies insists, but he also warns against the dangers of overcutting weight. If he drains himself too much, he loses strength, sharpness, and timing. Davies credits Benn.
I believe in weight reducing of any form or kind. I don't believe in it. They're fighters. They need that strength. They need the power. They need the sharpness. That all goes if you weight train. Not only that, it's dangerous. But if if he can make the weight, he says he'll do it. He'll do it better this time than he did last time, and he can do it. And they're getting paid so much money, you can't blame them for risking things.
Benn's improved weight management this time around, noting it as a potential game changer. The key, he argues, lies in synchronization, balancing conditioning, power, and endurance. Against a seasoned technician like Eubank Jr., any lapse could be fatal. This fight, Davies says, isn't just about heart, it's about execution and precision. As Adam Smith further elaborates, age and career stages add even more intrigue. Eubank Jr., now in his mid-30s, carries both experience and the scars of a long career. Benn, at 29, brings youth, explosiveness, and hunger. It's the perfect storm, Smith notes. One fighter fighting to stay relevant, the other fighting to arrive. The involvement of organizations like Ring Magazine and the global media attention only amplify the magnitude of the event. It's not just a rematch, it's a cultural spectacle, a story of generational rivalry, and perhaps the last great chapter in one of British boxing's most heated family feuds. The narrative writes itself.
Chris Eubank will have turned 36. Yes, Conor Benn will be 29. But it's a fight that we have to see again. And I'm very glad that His Excellency, that Ring Magazine, that everybody that needed to get it done have got it done. The guys will be earning huge money and we will be hugely entertained again.
Revenge versus redemption, legacy versus youth, discipline versus aggression. As the lights dim and the crowd roars, one truth becomes clear. This is more than a fight. It's a statement. Both men enter the ring knowing there's no middle ground, no moral victories, no excuses. For Conor Benn, it's the chance to erase doubt and redefine himself. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's the opportunity to reaffirm his name among the best. Every jab, every exchange, every moment of tension will tell a story years in the making. As Duke McKenzie, Johnny Nelson, Tony Sims, Bellew, McIntyre, Jeffries, Allen, Smith, Jones, Groves, and Davies all agree in their own ways. This rematch is not just another boxing event. It's a collision of history, heart, and human will. The only certainty is that when Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. step into that ring again, the world will be watching, breath held, hearts pounding, waiting for the next unforgettable chapter of British boxing history. Don't miss a second of the action. Subscribe, hit the bell, and stay tuned as we break down every punch, prediction, and knockout moment in this epic showdown.